Okay. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Sunday Krishna book reading to Srila Prabhupada. We're very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada allows us to come and read to him every Sunday. And today is very special for all of you online. We've been reading Krishna book here to Srila Prabhupada for 4 years now. And now this is our 4th time around Krishna book. Haribo! So all of you online, you can turn to the preface of your Krishna book, and you'll see on the bottom of the screen there'll be subtitles that helps you to follow along in English. So as always, let us offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and to each other. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paskacha Deshatarane, and to each other. Vanchakalpa Durvyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patijanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, before chapter 1, Srila Prabhupada so kindly wrote the preface, and he wrote an introduction. So we find that to be important to read Prabhupada's words. Preface. Nivritta tasher upagiyamanad bhaval shadat chautra mano biramat ka uttama shloka gunanuvadat Pumam virajeta vina pashunyat. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 1st chapter, 4th verse, 10.1.4. In the Western countries, when someone sees the cover of a book like Krishna, he immediately asks, who is Krishna? Who is the girl with Krishna? You see how on the cover of the book, beautiful Krishna. Even the name Krishna means all attractive. The immediate answer is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How is that? Because he conforms in exact detail to descriptions of the Supreme Being, the Godhead. In other words, Krishna is the Godhead because he is all attractive. Outside the principle of all attraction, there is no meaning to the word Godhead. How is it one can be all attractive? First of all, if one is very wealthy, if he has great riches, he becomes attractive to the people in general. Similarly, if someone is very powerful, he also becomes attractive. And if someone is very beautiful, or wise, or unattached to all kinds of possessions, he also becomes attractive. So from practical experience, we can observe that one is attractive due to 1, wealth, 2, power, 3, fame, 4, beauty, 5, wisdom, and 6, renunciation. One who is in possession of all 6 of these opulences at the same time, who possesses them to an unlimited degree, is understood to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These opulences of the Godhead are delineated by Parashara Muni, a great Vedic authority.
We have seen many rich persons, many powerful persons, many famous persons, many beautiful persons, many learned and scholarly persons, and persons in the renounced order of life, unattached to material possessions. But we have never seen any one person who is unlimitedly and simultaneously wealthy, powerful, famous, beautiful, wise, and unattached, like Krishna. In the history of humanity, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a historical person who appeared on this earth 5,000 years ago. He stayed on this earth for 125 years and played exactly like a human being. but his activities were unparalleled. From the very moment of his appearance to the moment of his disappearance, every one of his activities is unparalleled in the history of the world, and therefore anyone who knows what we mean by Godhead will accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to the Godhead, and no one is greater than him. That is the import of familiar saying, Krishna is great. God is.
There are various classes of men in the world who speak of God in different ways. But according to Vedic literatures and according to the great acharyas, the authorized person versed in the knowledge of God in all ages, like Acharya Shankara, Ramanuj, Madhava, Vishnu Swami, Lord Chaitanya, and all their followers by disciplic succession, all unanimously agree that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As far as we, the followers of Vedic civilization, are concerned, we accept the Vedic history of the whole universe, which consists of different planetary systems called Svarglok, or the higher planetary system, Martyalok, or the intermediary planetary system, and Patallok, or the lower planetary system. The modern historians of this earth cannot supply historical evidence of events that occurred before 5,000 years ago. And the anthropologists say that 40,000 years ago, Homo sapiens had not appeared on this planet because evolution had not reached that point. But the Vedic histories, such as Puranas and the Mahabharata, relate human histories which extend millions and billions of years into the past.
For example, from these literatures we are given the histories of Krishna's appearances and disappearances millions and billions of years ago. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that both he and Arjuna had many births before, and that he, Krishna, could remember all of them, but Arjuna could not. This illustrates the difference between the knowledge of Krishna and that of Arjuna. Arjuna might have been a very great warrior, a well-cultured member of the Kuru dynasty. But after all, he was an ordinary human being. Whereas Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the possessor of unlimited knowledge. Because he possesses unlimited knowledge, Krishna has a memory that is boundless.
Krishna's knowledge is so perfect that he remembers all the incidents of his appearances some millions of and billions of years in the past. But Arjuna's memory and knowledge are limited by time and space, for he is an ordinary human being. In the 4th chapter, Krishna states that he can remember instructing the lessons of the Bhagavad-Gita some millions of years ago to the sun god Vivaswan. Nowadays, it is the fashion of the atheistic class of men to try to become God by following some mystic process. Generally, the atheists claim to be God by dint of their imagination of their meditational prowess. Krishna is not that kind of God. He does not become God by manufacturing some mystic process of meditation, nor does he become God by undergoing the severe austerities of the mystic yogic exercises. Properly speaking, he never become God because he is the Godhead in all circumstances. To whom? Whom goes this trophy?
He doesn't have a book yet.
Better you start. Lady first.
Which one? Within the prison of his maternal uncle Kamsa, where his father and mother were confined, Krishna appeared outside his mother's body as the four-handed Vishnu Narayana. Then he turned himself into a baby and told his father to carry him to the house of Nanda Maharaj and his wife Yashoda. When Krishna was just a small baby, the gigantic demoness Putana attempted to kill him. But when he sucked her breast, he pulled out her life. That is the difference between the real Godhead and a god manufactured in the mystic factory. Krishna had no chance to practice the mystic yoga process, yet he manifested himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead at every step, from infancy to childhood, from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to young manhood. In this book, Krishna, all of his activities as a human being are described. Although Krishna plays like a human being, he always maintains his identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Since Krishna is all attractive, one should know that all his desires should be focused on Krishna. In the Bhagavad-Gita, it is said that the individual person is the proprietor or master of his own body, but that Krishna
And slower.
But the Krishna, who is the super soul present in everyone's heart, is the supreme proprietor and the supreme master of each and every individual body. As such, if we concentrate our loving propensities upon Krishna only, then immediately universal love, unity and tranquility will be automatically realized. When one waters the root of a tree, he automatically waters the branches, twigs, leaves and flowers. When one supplies food to the stomach through the mouth, he satisfies all the various of the body.
The art of focusing one's attention on the Supreme and giving one's love to Him is called Krishna consciousness. We have inaugurated the Krishna consciousness movement so that everyone can satisfy his propensity for loving others simply by directing his love towards Krishna. The whole world is very eager to satisfy the dormant propensity of love for others, but the various invented methods like socialism, communism, altruism, humanitarianism, and nationalism, along with whatever else may be manufactured for the peace and prosperity of the world, are all useless and frustrating because of our gross ignorance of the art of loving Krishna. Generally, people think that by advancing the cause of moral principles and religious rites, they will be happy. Others may think that happiness can be achieved by economic development, and yet others think that simply by sense gratification they will be happy. But the real fact is that people can be happy only by loving Krishna.
Krishna can perfectly reciprocate one's loving propensities in different relationships called melos or rasas. Basically, there are 12 loving relationships. One can love Krishna as the supreme unknown, as the supreme master, the supreme friend, the supreme child, the supreme lover. These are the 5 basic love rasas. One can also love Krishna indirectly in 7 different relationships, which are apparently different from the 5 primary relationships. All in all, however, if one simply reposes his dormant loving propensities in Krishna, then his life becomes successful. This is not a fiction, but it is a fact that can be realized by practical application. One can directly perceive the effects that love for Krishna has on his life.
In the ninth. Would you like to?
Oh, you can just go ahead.
Okay.
In the ninth chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, this science of Krishna consciousness is called the king of all knowledge, the king of all confidential things, and the supreme science of transcendental realization. Yet we can directly experience the results of this science of Krishna consciousness because it is very easy to practice and is very playable. Whatever percentage of Krishna consciousness we can perform will become an eternal asset to our life, for it is the imperishable in all circumstances. It has now been actually proved that today's confused and frustrated younger generation in the Western countries can directly perceive the results of channeling the loving propensity towards Krishna alone.
It is said that although one executes severe austerities, penances, and sacrifices in his life, if he fails to awaken his dormant love for Krishna, then all his penances are to be considered useless. On the other hand, if one has awakened his dormant love for Krishna, then what is the use in executing austerities and penances unnecessarily? The Krishna conscious movement is the unique gift of Lord Chaitanya to the fallen souls of this age. It is a very simple method which has actually been carried out during the last 4 years in the Western countries. And there is no doubt that this movement can satisfy the dormant loving propensities of humanity. This book, Krishna, is another presentation to help the Krishna conscious movement in the Western world. This transcendental work of literature is published with profuse illustrations. People love to read various kinds of fiction to spend their time and energy. Now this tendency can be directed to Krishna. The result will be the imperishable satisfaction of the soul, both individually and collectively.
It is said in the Bhagavad-Gita that even a little effort expended on the path of Krishna consciousness can save one from the greatest danger. Hundreds of thousands of examples can be cited of people who have escaped the greatest dangers of life due to slight advancement in Krishna consciousness. We therefore request everyone to take advantage of this great transcendental literary work. One will find that by reading one page after another, an immense treasure of knowledge in art, science, literature, philosophy, and religion will be revealed. And ultimately, by reading this one book, Krishna, love of Godhead will fructify. My grateful acknowledgement is due to Sriman George Harrison, now chanting Hare Krishna, for his liberal contribution of $19,000 to meet the entire cost of printing this volume. May Krishna bestow upon this nice boy further advancement in Krishna consciousness, and at last my ever willing blessings are bestowed upon Sriman Shyam Sundara Das Adhikari, Sriman Brahmanand Das Brahmachari, Sriman Hayagriva Das Adhikari, Sriman Satyaswarupa Das Adhikari, Srimati Devahuti Devi Dasi, Srimati Jadurani Devi Dasi, Sriman Murlidhara Das Brahmachari, Sriman Bharadwaja Das Adhikari, and Sriman Pradyumna Das Adhikari, etc., for their hard labor in their ways to make this publication a great success. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. A.C.
A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Yes, and
Advent day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, February 26, 1970, ISKCON headquarters, 3764 Watseka Avenue, Los Angeles, California.
Evil prophet. Finished 1970. So let's chant all together for the introduction. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahi Mam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahi Mam. From the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 796. Nice and slow and loud.
While attempting to write this book, Krishna, let me first offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, O Vishnupada, Onatate, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja Prabhupada. Then let me offer my respectful obeisances to the Ocean of Mercy, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna himself appearing in the role of devotee just to describe the highest principles of devotional service. Lord Chaitanya began his preaching from the country known as Gauda Desa, West Bengal. As I belong to the Matwa Gaudiya Sampradaya, I must therefore offer my respectful obeisances to the disciplic succession of that name. The Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya is also known as the Brahma Sampradaya because the disciplic succession originally began from Brahma. Brahma instructed the sage Narada, Narada instructed Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva instructed Madhava Muni, Madhva Muni, or Madhava Charya, Sri Mahavendra Puri. The originator of the Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya was a sannyasi who belonged to the Madhavacharya disciplic succession. He had many renowned disciples such as Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and Iswara Puri. Iswara Puri happened to be the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let us offer our respectful obeisances to Iswara Puri, Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Sri Vasa Pandita, and Sri Gadadhara Pandita. Next, let us offer our respectful obeisances to Swarupa Damodara, who acted as the private secretary to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and let us offer our respectful obeisances to Sri Vasudeva Datta and the constant attendant of Lord Chaitanya, Sri Govinda, and the constant friend of Lord Chaitanya, Mukunda, and also to Murari Gupta. And let us offer our respectful obeisances to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami.
Krishna. Krishna himself has explained in the Bhagavad-Gita that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that whenever there are discrepancies in the regulative principles of man's religious life and a prominence of irreligious activities, he appears on this earthly planet. In other words, when Lord Sri Krishna appeared, there was a necessity of minimizing the load of sinful activities accumulated on the planet or in this universe. For affairs of the material creation, Lord Mahavishnu, the plenary portion of Krishna, is in charge. Thus, when the Lord descends, the incarnation emanates from Vishnu. Mahavishnu is the original cause of the material creation, and from him, Garbhodakshay Vishnu expands, and then Sharadakshay Vishnu. Generally, all the incarnations appearing within this material universe are plenary expansions from Sharadakshay Vishnu. Therefore, the business of minimizing the overload of sinful activities on this earth does not belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. But when Krishna appears, all the Vishnu expansions join with him. Krishna's different expansions, namely Narayan, the quadruple expansion of Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, as well as partial plenary expansions like Matsya, the incarnation of a fish, and the Yuga avatars, incarnations for the millennium, and the Manvantara avatars, incarnations associated with the reigns of the Manus, all combine together and appear with the body of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the complete whole, and thus all plenary expansions and incarnations always live with him.
Therefore, when Krishna appeared, Lord Vishnu was with him. Krishna actually appears in order to demonstrate his Vrindavana pastimes and in this way attract the fortunate conditioned souls and invite them back home, back to Godhead. The killing of the demons in Vrindavana was carried out only by the Vishnu portion of Krishna. The Lord's abode is described in the Bhagavad-Gita, 8th chapter, 20th verse, where it is stated that there is another eternal nature, the spiritual sky, which is transcendental to this manifested and non-manifested matter. The manifested world can be seen in the form of many stars and planetary systems such as the sun and moon, but beyond this there is a non-manifested portion which is not approachable by anyone in this body. And beyond that non-manifested matter is the spiritual kingdom. That kingdom is described in the Bhagavad-Gita as supreme and eternal, never to be annihilated. This material nature is subjected to repeated creation and annihilation. But that part, the spiritual nature, remains as it is eternally.
The supreme abode of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is also described in the Brahma Samhita as the abode of Chintamani. That abode of Lord Krishna, known as Golok Vrindavan, is full of palaces made of touchstones. There are trees are called desired trees, and the cows are called Surabhi. The Lord is served there by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. His name is Govinda, the primeval Lord, and he is the cause of all causes. There the Lord plays his flute. His eyes are like lotus petals, and the color of his body is like that of a beautiful cloud. On his head is a peacock feather. He is so attractive that he excels thousands of cupids. Lord Krishna gives only a little hint in the Gita of his personal abode, which is supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna actually appears with all his paraphernalia and demonstrates his activities in Vrindavan, then at Mathura and then at Dwaraka. The subject matter of this book will gradually reveal all these activities.
The family in which Krishna appeared is called the Yadu dynasty. This Yadu dynasty belongs to the family descending from Soma, the god in the moon planet. There are two different Kshatriya families of the royal order, one descending from the king of the moon planet and the other descending from the king of the sun planet. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, he generally appears in a Kshatriya family because he has to establish religious principles or the life of righteousness. The Kshatriya family is the protector of the human race, according to the Vedic system. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he appeared in the family descending from the sun god, known as the Raghu Vamsa. And when he appeared as Lord Krishna, he did so in the family known as the Yadu Vamsa. There's a long list of the kings of the Yadu Vamsa in the 9th canto, 24th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. All of them were great, powerful kings. Krishna's father's name was Vasudeva, son of Surosen, descending from the Yadu dynasty. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not belong to any dynasty of this material world, but the family in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears becomes famous by his grace. For example, sandalwood is produced in the states of Malaya. Sandalwood has its own qualifications apart from Malaya, but because accidentally this wood is mainly produced in the states of Malaya, it is known as Malayan sandalwood. Similarly, Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, belongs to everyone. But just as the sun rises from the east, although there are other directions from which it could rise, so by his own choice, the Lord appears in a particular family, and that family becomes famous.
As explained above, when Krishna appears, all his plenary expansions appear with him. Krishna appeared along with Baladev, who is known as elder brother. Balaram is the origin of Sankarshan, of the quadruple expansion. Balaram is the plenary expansion of Krishna. In this book, the attempt will be made to show how Krishna appeared in the family of Yadu dynasty and how he displayed his transcendental characteristics. This is very vividly described in Srimad Bhagavatam, specifically the 10th canto, and thus the basis of this book will be the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The pastimes of Lord are generally heard and relished by liberated souls. Those who are conditioned souls are interested in reading stories of the material activities of some common man. Although similar narrations describing the transcendental activities of the Lord are found in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas, the conditioned soul still prefer to study ordinary narrations. They are not so interested in studying the narrations of the pastimes of Lord Krishna, and yet the descriptions of the pastimes of Lord Krishna are so attractive that they are relishable for all classes of men. There are three classes of men in the world. One class consists of liberated souls, another consists of those who are trying to be liberated, and the third consists of materialistic men. Whether one is liberated or is trying to be liberated or is even grossly materialistic, the pastimes of Lord Krishna are worth studying.
Liberated souls have no interest in materialistic activities. The impersonalist theory that after liberation one becomes inactive and need not hear anything does not prove that a liberated soul is actually inactive. A living soul cannot be inactive. He is active either in the conditional state or in the liberated state. A deceased person, for example, is also active, but his activities are all painful. The same person, when freed from the diseased condition, is still active, but in the healthy condition, the activities are full of pleasure. Similarly, the impersonalists only seek to get free from the diseased, conditioned activities, but they have no information of activities in the healthy condition. Those who are actually liberated and in full knowledge take to hearing the activities of Krishna. Such engagement is pure spiritual activity.
It is essential for persons who are actually liberated to hear about the pastimes of Krishna. That is supreme relishable subject matter for one in liberated state. Also, if persons who are trying to be liberated hear such narrations as the Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then their path of liberation become very clear. The Bhagavad-Gita is the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam. By studying the Gita, one becomes fully conscious of the position of Lord Krishna, and when he is situated at the lotus feet of Krishna, he understands the narrations of Krishna described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya has therefore advised his followers that their business is to propagate Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha means narrations about Lord Krishna. There are two Krishna Katha, narrations spoken by Krishna and narration spoken by Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita is the narration, the philosophy on the science of God spoken by Krishna himself. Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration about the activities and transcendental pastimes of Krishna. Both are Krishna Katha. It is the order of Lord Chaitanya that Krishna Katha should be spread all over the world, because if the conditioned souls suffering under the pangs of material existence take to Krishna Katha, then their path of liberation will be open and clear. The purpose of presenting this book is primarily to induce people to understand Krishna or Krishna Katha, because thereby they can become freed from material bondage.
The Krishna Katha will also be very much appealing to the most materialistic persons, because Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, cowherd girls, are exactly like the loving affairs between young girls and boys within this material world. Actually, the sex feeling found in human society is not unnatural, because this same sex feeling is there in the original personality of Godhead. The pleasure potency is called Srimati Radharani. The attraction of loving affairs on the basis of sex feeling is the original future of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we, the conditioned souls, being part and parcel of Supreme, have such feelings also, but they are experienced within a perverted, minute condition. Therefore, when those who are after sex life in this material world hear about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, they will release transcendental pleasure. Although it appears to be materialistic, the advantage will be that they will gradually be elevated to the spiritual platform. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that if one hears the pastimes of Lord Krishna with gopis from authorities with submission, when he will be promoted to the platform of transcendental loving service to the Lord, and the material disease of lust within his heart will be completely vanquished. In other words, such hearing will counteract material sex life.
This book, Krishna, which is filled with Krishna Katha, will thus appeal equally to the liberated souls and to persons who are trying to be liberated, as well as to the gross conditioned materialists. According to the statement of Maharaj Parikshit, who heard about Krishna from Shukadeva Goswami, Krishna Katha is equally applicable to every human being, whatever condition of life he is in. Surely everyone will appreciate it to the highest magnitude. But Maharaj Parikshit also warned that persons who are simply engaged in killing animals and in killing themselves may not be very much attracted to Krishna Katha. In other words, ordinary persons who are following the regulative moral principles of Scripture, no matter in what condition they are found, will certainly be attracted, but not persons who are killing themselves. The exact word used in Srimad Bhagavatam is pashunya, which means one who is killing animals or killing himself. Persons who are not self-realized and who are not interested in spiritual realization are killing themselves. They are committing suicide. Because this human form of life is especially meant for self-realization, by neglecting this important part of his activities, one simply wastes his time like the animals. So, he is pashunya. The other meaning of the word refers to those who are actually killing animals. This means persons who are animal eaters, even dog eaters, for they are all engaged in killing animals in so many ways, such as hunting and opening slaughterhouses. Such persons cannot be interested in Krishna Katha.
King Parikshit was especially interested in hearing Krishna Katha because he knew that his forefathers, particularly his grandfather Arjuna, were victorious in the great battle of Kurukshetra only because of Krishna. We may also take this material world as the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Everyone is struggling hard for existence on this battlefield, and at every step there is danger. According to Maharaj Parikshit, the battlefield of Kurukshetra was just like a vast ocean full of dangerous animals. His grandfather Arjuna had to fight with such great heroes as Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and many others who were not ordinary fighters. Such warriors have been compared to the Timingila fish in the ocean. The Timingila fish can very easily swallow up big whales. The great fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra could swallow many Arjunas very easily, but simply due to Krishna's mercy, Arjuna was able to kill all of them. Just as one can cross with no exertion over the little bit of water contained in the hoof print of a calf, so Arjuna, by the grace of Krishna, was able to very easily jump over the ocean of the battle of Kurukshetra.
Maharaj Parikshit very much appreciated Krishna's activities for many other reasons. Not only was his grandfather saved by Krishna, but he himself also was saved by Krishna. By the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, both the sons and grandsons on the side of Dhritarashtra and those on the sides of the Pandavas, had died in the fighting. Except the 5 Pandavas' brothers, everyone died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Parikshit was at that time within the womb of his mother. His father Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna, also died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and so Maharaj Parikshit was a post-human child. Posthumous child. When he was in the womb of his mother, a Brahmastra weapon was released by Ashwatthama to kill the child. When Parikshit Maharaja's mother, Uttara, approached Krishna, seeing the danger of abortion, entered her womb as a super soul and saved Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit's other name is Vishnurata. because he was saved by the Lord Vishnu himself while still within the womb.
Thus, everyone in any condition of life should be interested in hearing about Krishna and his activities because he is the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. He is all pervading. Inside, he is living within everyone's heart, and outside, he's living as his universal form. And yet, as described in the Bhagavad-Gita, he appears as he is in the human society, just to invite everyone to his transcendental abode, back home, back to Godhead. Everyone should be interested in knowing about Krishna. And this book is presented with this purpose, that people may know about Krishna and be perfectly benefited in this human form of life.
In the ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shri Baladev is described as the son of Rohini, a wife of Vasudev. Vasudev, the father of Krishna, had 16 wives, and one of them was Rohini, the mother of Baladev. But Baladev is also described as son of Devaki. So how could he be the son of both Devaki and Rohini? This was one of the questions put by Maharaj Parikshit to Shukdev Goswami, and it will be answered in due course. Maharaj Parikshit also asked Shukdev Goswami why Sri Krishna, just after his appearance as the son of Vasudev, was immediately carried to the house of Nand Maharaj in Vrindavan, Gokul. He also wanted to know what the activities of Lord Krishna were while he was in Vrindavan and while he was in Mathura. Besides that, he was especially inquisitive to know why Krishna killed his maternal uncle Kansa. Kansa, being the brother of his mother, was a very intimate superior to Krishna. So how was it that he killed Kansa? Also, Maharaj Parikshit asked how many years Lord Krishna remained in human society, how many years he reigned over the kingdom of Dwarka, and how many wives he accepted there. A Kshatriya king is generally accustomed to accept more than one wife. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit also inquired about his number of wives. The subject matter of this book is Shukdev Goswami answering of these and other questions asked by Maharaj Parikshit.
The position of Maharaja Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami is unique. Maharaja Parikshit is the right person to hear The position of Maharaja Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami is unique. Maharaja Parikshit is the right person to hear about the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, and Sukadeva Goswami is the right person to describe them. If such a fortunate combination is made possible, then Krishna Kada immediately becomes revealed, and people may benefit to the highest possible degree from such a conversation.
Okay. This narration was presented by Sukdev Goswami. Okay. Okay. When Maharaj Parikshit was prepared to give up his body fasting on bank of the Ganges, in order to assure Sukdev Goswami that by hearing Krishna Katha he would not feel tired, Maharaj Parikshit expressed himself very frankly. Hunger and thirst may give trouble to ordinary person or to me, but the topics of Krishna are so nice that one can continue to hear them without feeling tired, because such hearing situates one in the transcendental position. It is understood that one must be very fortunate to hear Krishna Katha as seriously as Maharaj Parikshit did. He was especially intent on the subject matter because he was expecting death at any moment. Every one of us should be conscious of that at every moment. This life is not at all assured. At any time, one can die. It does not matter whether one is a young man or an old man. So, before that takes place, we must be fully Krishna conscious.
At the point of his death, King Parikshit was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. When King Parikshit expressed his untiring desire to hear about Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami was very much pleased. Sukadeva Goswami was the greatest of all Bhagavat reciters, and thus he began to speak about Krishna's pastime, which destroy all inauspiciousness. In this age of Kali, Sukadeva Goswami thanked the king for his eagerness to hear about Krishna, and he encouraged him by saying, "My dear king, your intelligence is very keen because you are so eager to hear about the pastime of Krishna." He informed Maharaj Parikshit that hearing and chanting the pastime of Krishna are so auspicious that the process purify the three varieties of men involved: he who recites the transcendental topic of Krishna, he who hears such topics, and he who inquires about him. This pastime are just like the Ganges water, which flow from the toe of the Lord Vishnu, that purify the three worlds, the upper, middle, and the lower planetary systems.
That sends Prabhupada's preface and introduction. So now we'll start with chapter 1.
Haribo. Chapter 1: The Advent of Lord Krishna. Once the world was overburdened by the unnecessary defense force of different kings, who were actually demons but were posing themselves as the royal order. At that time, the whole world became perturbed, and the predominating deity of this earth, known as Bhumi, went to see Lord Brahma to tell her calamities due to the demoniac kings. Bhumi assumed the shape of a cow and presented herself before Lord Brahma with tears in her eyes. She was bereaved and was weeping just to invoke the Lord's compassion. She related the calamitous position of the earth, and after hearing this, Lord Brahma became much aggrieved, and he at once started for the ocean of milk, where Lord Vishnu resides. Lord Brahma was accompanied by all the demigods, headed by Lord Shiva, and Bhumi also followed. Arriving on the shore of the milk ocean, Lord Brahma began to pacify Lord Vishnu, who had formerly saved the earthly planet by assuming the transcendental form of a boar.
In the Vedic mantras, there is a particular type of prayer called Purusa Sukta. Generally, the demigods offer their obeisances unto Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by chanting the Purusa Sukta. It is understood herein that the predominating deity of every planet can see the Supreme Lord of this universe, Brahma. Whenever there is some disturbances on his planet, and Brahma can approach the Supreme Lord Vishnu not by seeing him directly, but by standing on the shore of the ocean of milk. There is a planet within this universe called Swadadip, and on that planet there is an ocean of milk. It is understood from various Vedic literatures that just as there is the ocean of salt water on this planet, there are various kinds of oceans on other planets. Somewhere there is an ocean of milk, somewhere there is an ocean of oil, and somewhere there are oceans of liquor and of many other types of liquids. The Purusa Sukta is the standard prayer which the demigods recite to appease the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kirodakshai Vishnu, because he is lying on the ocean of milk. He is called Kirodakshai Kiro Dakshai Vishnu. He is the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through whom all the incarnations within this universe appear.
After all the demigods offered the Purusha Shukta prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they apparently heard no response. Then Lord Brahma personally sat in meditation, and there was a message transmission from Lord Vishnu to Brahma. Brahma then broadcast the message to the demigods. That is the system of receiving Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is received first by Brahma from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the heart. As stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Teni Brahmarida Yas Adi Kavaye. The transcendental knowledge of the Vedas was transmitted to Lord Brahma through the heart. Here also, in the same way, only Brahma could understand the message transmitted by Lord Vishnu, and he broadcast it to the demigods for their immediate action. The message was this: the Supreme Personality of Godhead would appear on the earth very soon, along with his supreme powerful potencies, and as long as he remained on the earth planet to execute his mission of annihilating the demons and establishing the devotees, the demigods should also remain there to assist him. They should all immediately take birth in the family of the Yadu dynasty, wherein the Lord would also appear in due course of time. The Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Krishna, would personally appear as the son of Vasudeva. Before his appearance, all the demigods, along with their wives, should appear in different pious families in the world, just to assist the Lord in executing his mission. The exact word used here is tat priyatam, which means the demigod should appear on the earth in order to please the Lord. In other words, any living entity who lives only to satisfy the Lord is a demigod. The demigods were further informed that Ananta, the plenary portion of Lord Krishna, who is maintaining the universal planets by extending his millions of hoods, would also appear on earth before Lord Krishna's appearance. They were also informed that the external potency of Vishnu, Maya, with whom all the conditioned souls are enamored, would also appear by the order of the Supreme Lord, just to execute his purpose.
Thank you. After instructing and pacifying all the demigods as well as Bhumi with sweet words, Lord Brahma, the father of all Prajapatis or progenitors of the universal population, departed for his own abode, the highest material planet called Brahmaloka. The leader of the Yadu dynasty, King Shurasen, was ruling over the country known as Mathura, wherein lies the city of Mathura, as well as the district known as Shurasen, which was named after him. On account of the rule of King Shursena, Mathura became the capital city of all the kings of the Yadus. Mathura was also made the capital of the kings of the Yadu dynasty, because the Yadus were a very pious family and knew that Mathura is the place where Lord Krishna lives eternally, just as he also lives in Dwarka.
Once upon a time, Vasudeva, the son of Shurasena, just after marrying Devaki, was going home on his chariot with his newly wedded wife. The father of Devaki, known as Devaka, had contributed a sufficient dowry because he was very affectionate towards his daughter. He had contributed hundreds of chariots completely decorated with gold equipment. At that time, Kansa, the son of Ugrasen, in order to please his sister Devaki, had voluntarily taken the reins of the horses of Vasudeva's chariot and was driving. According to the customs of the Vedic civilization, when a girl is married, the brother takes the sister and brother in law to their home. Because the newly married girl may feel too much separation from her father's family, the brother goes with her until she reaches her father in law's house. The full dowry contributed by Devaka was as follows: 400 elephants fully decorated with golden garlands, 15,000 decorated with horses, and 1800 chariots. He also arranged for 200 beautiful girls to follow his daughter. The Kshatriya system of marriage, still current in India, dictates that when a Kshatriya is married, a few dozen of the bride's young girlfriends, in addition to the bride, go to the house of the king. The followers of the queen are called maid servants, but actually they act as friends of the queen. This practice is prevalent from time immemorial, traceable at least to the time before the advent of Lord Krishna's 5000 years ago. So Vasudeva brought home another 200 beautiful girls along with his wife Devaki.
While the bride and bridegroom were passing along on the chariot, there were different kinds of musical instruments playing to indicate the auspicious moment. There were conch shells, bugles, drums, and kettle drums combined together. They were vibrating a nice concert. The procession was passing very pleasingly, and Kamsa was driving the chariot, when suddenly there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which especially announced to Kamsa, "Kamsa, you're such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know that the 8th child of this sister will kill you."
So that concludes our 1 hour of reading Krishna book to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for allowing us to come and read your wonderful Krishna book to you. So as always, let us offer respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and to each other. Nama Om Vishnuvidaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paskachadi Shatarane. And to each other, Vanchakalpatubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And for all of you online, we'll continue next week with the advent of Lord Krishna. Haribo!